Hello, my name is April, and welcome to the Yoga Ranger Studio, and welcome to our very special practice today. Today is a practice dedicated to all of you on the forefront of medical care. First responders, those who are emergency personnel, medical personnel, nurses, doctors, aides, all of you out there who work so tirelessly, giving of yourself, of your time, putting yourself out there extra to take care of all of us. So thank you so much for your dedication and also for taking such good care of us. So here's a little practice to take good care of you. All you will need for this practice props-wise, and these are purely optional, is an optional blanket underneath for your comfort. If you're on carpet, you don't need that. That's just to make the floor a little bit more comfortable here. It would be very helpful to have a rolled up blanket or beach towel or a towel from your bathroom. That would be super useful for a couple of our poses later on. So have that kind of off to the side for right now, but we're going to start on our backs to begin with. Taking the feet wide, knees drop together, hands off to the side, tuck the shoulder blades underneath. You can take one hand to your belly, one hand to your heart if that feels better for you. Walking the feet a little further away from you. Just taking some nice deep breaths, a few moments to just check in with the breath. As emergency first responders and emergency personnel, you spend a lot of your time putting out fires and being really on that sympathetic nervous system, that fight or flight, that immediate response, and that is absolutely necessary for your job. But in balance to that, you need some time to settle the breath, to make it fuller and richer, to spend some more time in the parasympathetic nervous system, that heal and rest and digest and recover state of the nervous system as a balancing. And so to help us get there, we're going to work a little bit with the breath. So we're going to start with a 3-part breath. Keeping that one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart space. You're going to breathe first into that hand on the belly, and then moving up into the heart space, and then the shoulder blades and the collarbones are going to spread, and then they're going to exhale. Back down, collarbones, chest, belly. Just settling into a little rhythm here of this 3-part breath. When we're under stress, we tend to breathe a lot more just in the center of our chest, which is, once again, perfectly natural, but to help us kind of settle and get a fuller, richer breath, we want to take advantage of all of the lung system. We want to connect to that full breath. So just practicing that inhale and exhale, 3-part breath. Belly, chest, collarbones, exhale, collarbones, chest, belly. One more of these. And let your breath go back to whatever organic it feels like right now. You might notice a little bit more settled, a little bit longer extended inhales and exhales. We're going to work with that to help extend the exhale even longer. I'm going to be inhale, a nice deep inhale to start with. Exhale through the mouth. And then you're going to inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to extend that inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let the breath go. Maybe notice that your heartbeat is a little bit slower, your breath is a little bit slower. And open your eyes, roll over to your right side, and come up for our first couple of poses. So we're going to take a toe stretch for the bottoms of the feet. First responders spend a huge amount of time on their feet. So you can either keep your hands on the floor or lift up. You're going to flip those toes over. We're going to stretch the bottoms of the feet. Now, lots of people find this pose very challenging. Don't worry if you feel that too. If you're thinking, we cannot possibly stay here any longer, take a few breaths, reconnect to that extended exhale. Know that every pose has to come to an end. Notice if you're holding tension in the shoulders because your feet. Sometimes that happens as well. Just 2 more deep breaths here. And then lean over, hands on the floor, tap those toes, wiggle them around. Say, thank goodness that is over. That's what I always say every time I get out of that pose. You're going to go ahead and take the feet right back behind you, and you're going to flatten the toes out so the tops of the feet are pressed into the floor and start to lean back. Now here you have some choices. You can just stay right here. You can lean forward a little bit if this is a lot for your feet, or you could start to lean back with your hands behind you. Lift the knees off the floor. This is going to stretch a lot more of the top of your feet. Here again, caring for our feet. Just a few more breaths. Keeping your feet mobile and open can go a lot to taking away some of the aches and pains in the lower back and the hips, and even headaches and shoulder and neck aches. A lot of those things start with the feet needing a little bit of love and care. Go ahead and release wherever you're at. Come back onto hands and knees. Wiggle those feet around. Tap them on the floor if that feels good for you. Then we're going to take a child's pose. So big toes together, knees wide as you feel comfortable with. That could be more or less than I am. We're going to go ahead and sort of walk our hands out. We're going to take a little twist here. So we're going to take that left hand underneath, thread it underneath, and walk it a little bit over to the right. And then we're going to take that right hand on top of it. So the palm is directly on top of that hand, tucked underneath. You might feel this in the lower back, mid-back, shoulder, maybe even the neck. Noticing your breath here. Coming back to that extended exhale, that Nice 3-part breath with a little bit longer exhale. Go and take that right hand flat in front of your face. Slowly press up, unwind that left hand. Go and walk the hands out. Maybe hands wider than normal. Drop the head to the floor or a blanket or a block. Settle in for a few breaths here. Gently lifting up, we're going to take that second side. Tuck that right hand all the way under. And then go ahead and take that left hand on top of that right. Give it a little weight there. Noticing whatever sensations come up here, even if there's no sensation, just noting that as well. Checking in with the breath. Maybe breathing into that space that may feel a little bit tight or tense. And taking that left hand right in front of your face, pressing up ever so slow. Maybe bringing the knees a little bit closer together. And walking the hands a little bit closer together instead of wide V, sort of straight out in front of you, just for a few breaths here. Slowly lifting up. We're going to come all the way down onto our bellies. Into Sphinx pose. So if you have lower back, it's a little bit crunchy. You can take the feet a little bit wider. If you're okay, you can have them closer together. Some people enjoy one version over the other. Taking the elbows underneath the shoulders or a little bit out in front of you. Palms together or flat, whatever feels best for you. And just letting the shoulders soften a little bit and the chest come forward. No effort here, just letting the feet rest, the low back rest. If you start to feel some pinching in the lower back, just walk the feet a little bit wider. It's a wonderful chance to reconnect with that three-part breath. As we open up the chest, let the chest move a little bit forward and down toward the floor. You can always keep a little bit of engagement in the belly or soften it completely toward the floor. Making adjustments for whatever you need and whatever your back needs. You can either stay here for the next minute and a half or 2 minutes, or you can take the hands a little wider, thumbs pointing forward. Walk the hands out a little bit further and start to lift up into seal pose. Now, if your back feels really cranky in this pose, come back down into Sphinx pose and stay there just a little bit longer. You can also bend the elbows or take the hands out further to take a little bit of the pressure out of this pose. You might find as you come into it a little bit longer that there's a little bit more space. You can walk the hands closer to your body or just stay where you're at. Try to release the glutes and the back of the legs. One more nice deep breath, nice deep inhale. And on the exhale, bend the elbows, start to lower all the way down. You can take your hands on top of one another and rest your forehead on the back of your hands, rocking your hips side to side. And go ahead and roll all the way over onto your back. here, just for a few breaths, we're going to take a little cat-cow on our back. So press the lower back into the floor, flatten out the back, and then tilt it away, getting a little more curve. All the standing and the lifting and the equipment involved in emergency care and emergency responders, first responders. A lot of compression on the lower back, a lot of weight bearing on the back. On the back, come back to neutral. Walk the legs out straight. We're going to go ahead and walk the heels over to the right. So I'm going to take that left leg over the right ankle. Move the upper body over just a little bit to the right as well. And here, take the arms up overhead and grab onto either the left elbow, left wrist, or left forearm with the right hand. And just get a little stretch here on the sides. We're using a little bit of traction. If you find you want to take the right leg over a little further, you can always adjust that, keeping the hips firmly on the floor. Breathe into that entire left side body. As you get into the pose, you might find you can deepen it a little bit more, or maybe pull out a little bit because it's just a little bit more than your body can sustainably hold for another couple of minutes. Do what feels right for you and best for you in this moment. We're only doing 66% of our maximum. Let the pose do the work here for us. Just one more deep breath here. Really breathing all the way into that left lung and then exhaling all the way out. Slowly unwinding. Taking the feet wide, hands alongside the hips. And then go ahead and shifting to the other side. Moving those heels this time over to the left, taking that right ankle, crossing it over the left. Moving your upper body over just a little bit too, keeping those hips a little heavy on the floor. And arms up overhead, grab hold of that right wrist, elbow, forearm with the left hand, and just get a little traction here. This time breathing really deeply into the right side body, all the way from the heels to the fingertips. Noticing if your breath has become a little bit more steady and slow. Noticing any sensations that come up for you and where those are. One more deep inhale, filling that right lung all the way up. Exhaling out through the mouth, releasing your hands alongside your hips and unwinding those ankles, taking the feet wide, taking a few breaths here to check in. Noticing left and right. Noticing any sensations or emotions that come up from moving the side body. We don't often move laterally in our bodies throughout the day. Not many movements require that. And gently bending your legs, pressing your feet into the floor. You're going to roll over to the right. Just come up a little ways, enough to grab our little rolled up blanket here. We're going to place this at the top of our mat. We're going to do a couple of positions here to really open up the chest. This can be a really tight, tense place for a lot of people, especially if you're dealing with lifting and carrying a lot. So laying down on that blanket roll, you're just going to have your underarms right on the top edge. So this is going to feel like a lot. You can always bend your knees or take your feet out straight. You can take the arms out to the side straight or bend the elbows, whatever feels best for you. Let the feet fall open. If it feels better, you can always take the heels wider. Take some nice deep breaths. You really want to open up the upper chest area. Notice if because your chest is lifted that there is more breath and you can feel a little bit deeper breath here. Make use of that. Really filling the breath, 3-part breath, really full and emptying it out. Very slowly sliding those feet in, pressing into the bottoms of the feet, lifting up and just sort of shifting ever so slowly up so that the roll comes down a little bit. And now here your shoulder blades are resting fully on the floor. Here again, knees could be bent, heels could be wide, legs straight. You could take the arms up further overhead if that feels good for you, or out to the side with bent elbows or straight. Very slowly start to bend your knees, bring the feet flat. Go ahead and lift your hips. You're going to slide that blanket off to the side, wiggle it out. Slowly let the hips come down. If it feels good, maybe you windshield wiper your knees side to side a little bit, or you can be perfectly still, drop the knees together as well. Notice everything you feel here, how the back feels. You may feel some tingling or some shift in energy there, or some breath deepening. Or maybe you feel nothing, and that may feel good too. Maybe you feel a deep stretch, opening that wasn't there before. Go ahead. We're going to walk those feet a little closer together. I'm going to cross that right leg over that left, right above the knee. Go ahead and walk those feet in and bring the knees in. So this may mean that you just grab hold of the knees or the thighs or the legs. Maybe you use the blanket stretched out to pull onto your feet or knees. Maybe you can reach your feet and grab hold of those. Just bring those knees into the belly and the chest. Let them settle. Let gravity help you here. Maybe windshield wipe, bring the head side to side. Find a little movement here in the neck. Coming back to center. this pose, just breathing into the hips. As we fold into this pose, we open up the lower back and the hips and the back of the legs. Giving a little bit more space here, unwinding some of the tightness and tension and soreness from the space. Gently releasing those legs down to the floor. Unwinding, taking the feet wide, dropping the knees together. Noticing how it feels now that one side has been done and the other has not. And taking the knees out, switching sides, taking that left leg, crossing it over the right. Hugging those knees into the chest, grabbing onto however you can. Noticing this side may be very different. You may be able to reach more or less. Letting gravity kind of weigh things down toward your chest. Using a blanket if you need to wrap around the front of the legs to give you a little hold here. Just a few more breaths here. Reconnecting to your breath, that 3-part breath, extended exhale. And gently releasing the hold of your legs, letting the feet come down, unwinding, taking the feet wide, dropping the knees together, taking a few breaths here to check in with what you feel after the pose is over. Noting whatever sensations come up for you. Creates a great sense of relief to be out of that pose. Sometimes that's a feeling too that comes up. And then walking the feet as wide as your mat, or even just a little bit wider. Super wide. We're just going to windshield wiper the knees side to side. Super slow. Think of gentle rain here. When you next get over to the left, go ahead and drop the knees over to the left. Now you can stay here, kind of explore where this takes you in this pose, or you can take that left heel on top of that right thigh, or something in between. Whatever you feel today, turn and look over your right shoulder or look straight up. Just a few more breaths. Turning your head back to center. Engage the core, bring those knees back through the middle. Here again, just starting that soft windshield wiper side to side a couple of times on each side. And then when you next get over to the right, just allow those knees to drop down toward the right. Here again, exploring from here, or taking that right heel on top of that left thigh. You can turn and look over your shoulder if you like. And always remember, you can come out of a pose if it doesn't feel good for you and go back to a different variation that may have felt a little bit better. Noticing your breath. That 3-part breath here, allowing that exhale to be a little bit longer. Just one more deep breath. Slowly turning your head back to center, engaging your core, bringing those knees back through the middle. Here, just letting the knees drop toward one another, hands alongside the hips. Checking in with however you feel here after the pose is done. Here I invite you to make yourself comfortable for Shavasana. So if you have a blanket, you can take it on you or underneath your legs. Sometimes if you've been under a lot of stress, a lot of pressure, it feels good to take a blanket or something on top and kind of tuck it around the hips to help ground and settle. Take the heels out to the corners of the mat or keep the knees bent. And tuck the shoulder blades underneath, palms out to the side or on your belly and chest if that feels better. And just lift up your head, look down at your toes, and then lengthen your spine and lay it back down and just settle here. Come back to your breath, that awareness of the rise and fall of your breath. The belly, the chest, the collarbones, and exhaling collarbones, chest, belly. Allowing your awareness to sort of settle here on the breath. That's sort of an anchor. We're going to move that breath through the body and soften our awareness in different spaces of the body. Sort of let all that tension go. So just letting that breath move all the way down into the feet and the toes. Maybe wiggling your toes, waving your feet around. Noticing whatever is happening with your feet, how they feel. No judgment here, just noting, becoming aware. I want you to allow that breath to soften the feet and the toes, releasing whatever tension is in the feet and the toes and the ankles. And moving your awareness to the lower legs, the shins and calves, inside and outside, the kneecap and behind the knee. And here again, moving that breath down, allowing the breath to soothe and soften the space, letting the last bits of tension disappear. Gently moving your awareness to the upper legs, the thighs and the back of the thigh, the outer leg and inner leg. And here noting whatever is happening in this space, whatever sensations are here. And allowing the breath to release and relax the thighs and the legs. Feel both left and right legs all the way from the hip down through the feet and the toes, relaxed. More relaxed than you've ever been in your life. And gently bring your awareness to your hips, the front and back and side, feeling the weight of the hips on the floor. Grounded and supported here. Noting any sensations that you feel here. Allowing the breath to move into this space, to soften, to release. Bring your awareness to the space of your lower back and your navel. Noticing anything here that's going on without judgment, just noticing. And allowing the breath to move into these spaces, to relax the belly tension, the lower back. Moving your awareness to the center of the chest and the center of the back. Feel the back supported by the ground beneath, the chest open, the breath moving through. Noticing any sensations here and allowing the breath to soften everything, to be full and rich and release the tension in this space. And moving your awareness to the upper back and the collarbones and upper chest. Noticing anything here, or maybe there's nothing to notice, and that's okay too. Allowing the breath to settle here in this space, releasing tension, letting the shoulders soften towards the floor, the back be supported. The collarbones spread. Bring your awareness to your hands and fingers, maybe wiggling them around, and then letting them relax back. Maybe you've worked really hard with your hands or used your hands and arms a lot today. Noticing whatever sensations come up, whatever feelings here. Allow the breath to relax the space, like to wash through and over, releasing tension, tightness, discomfort. Moving your awareness to the lower arm and the wrist, inside and out, front and back, the elbow and the inside of the elbow. Becoming aware of this space and allowing the breath to move through here, releasing and softening. Settling your awareness on the upper arms and shoulders. Inner arm and outer arm, underarm and top of shoulder. What do you feel here, or what do you not feel here? Let the body rest and be supported, relaxed, tension-free. Let the neck soften, the back of the head be supported. The jaw and throat, temples, eyes, forehead, top of head. And feel this wave of softness and relaxation from the top of your head down to the bottoms of your feet. Let everything go. Stay here as long as you can with your breath, feeling supported and relaxed and softened. Take care of yourself. Rest. I will leave you here with a deep thank you for all that you do. Peace and namaste.